Hello, 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 fellow healing individuals. Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Lady Q, with the She Be Healing podcast. And I want to start this podcast off with a quote that I recently heard. And it says, "You can love someone and still choose to say goodbye to them. You can miss a person every day and still be glad they are no longer in your life." And so I remember reading that quote and it just hit me so greatly in my spirit because I titled this episode Fight the Urge because it is so important that we fight the urge not to go back to the place that broke us. It is so tempting. Our brains are our default and our bodies are wired to protect us from pain, protect us from hurting. And so when we're going through the healing process, we can begin to feel lonely. We could begin to romanticize situations that they were wonderful when they weren't. We could begin to do these things. And what we do is we want to go back because even though it was toxic, it was comfortable, right? Even though it was hurting you, you were used to the pain. And so I liken it to when everybody always say, pick your pain, right? The pain of pushing forward or the pain of going backward. I remember talking to a friend and she was like, "Oh, girl, I admire you, blah, blah, blah." And we were talking about divorce and because she was staying and some things that happened in her marriage. And I told her, I'm not in competition. Listen, it takes the same strength to leave as it does to stay. It's courage in whichever position you find yourself. What I want you to do is fight the urge. If you're already out of that situation and you're on your healing path, I want you to fight the urge. Fight the urge to go back to the place that hurt you. And I know it's a comfortable place. I know it's a place you're familiar with. And you're launching out into this healing journey and it's difficult. And believe me, I know it is a beast. It's hard work to go to those dark places, to uproot those traumas in our life, to go and find out that we have all these triggers that we didn't necessarily have. But I want you to fight the urge. And that's what this podcast is all about. This episode is all about fighting the urge to return back to the place that broke us. And how you're going to do that, some things you're going to do, you're going to be realistic with yourself. Take a deep breath. Take some time to breathe. It is hard to find new normals. It may be hard or difficult. I want to say difficult. I like that word better. It's difficult to find that new tribe, to fit in somewhere else, to form new habits. All those things are a process. Believe me, if you're having a hard time, you're in the right place. If you're struggling, that's wonderful. That means progress is happening. It's like beginning to work out or anything. Your muscles are going to be sore. You're going to be tired from crying. Your eyes may be swollen. All these things are happening in everything in you is going to scream, go back to being who you used to be, or go back to that person, or go back to that place. I want you to fight the urge, beloved. I want you to fight the urge, beautiful soul. Because if you are in a place where it is hurting, you are in the perfect spot to keep moving forward. You're in that perfect spot to keep moving forward, to keep breathing, to keep striving, to keep stretching yourself to a place where you can then begin to see the light. This is the portion that you just have to get through. You have to get through this portion to see the other side of your healing, right? Those people and those places that you're trying to hold on to, they're in your past. And I understand that that's easier said than done. That's why I want to give you some tips. I want to help you by just telling you to stop and breathe. And think about the situation that you were in. And I had to do this for myself. Like, dang, if I could go back, would I go back? It's an emphatic no. It's an emphatic no for me, not because I'm in a better situation or not just because I see the situation in a realistic manner, in a realistic view, in a realistic picture. Not because of anything bad, but because I'm a different person now. It really doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. You got to see yourself that you're growing, you're changing, and that's going to require you to be uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable at night by yourself lonely. You're going to be uncomfortable growing new muscles. You're going to be uncomfortable in those different stages. I want you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I know that's cliche, but that's part of the answer. Part of the answer is launching out into the unknown, into the deep. What is it going to cost you to go back, and what is it going to cost you to go forward? I was in business, and sometimes we have to do cost analysis, right? What is it going to cost you if you could go back to that situation and be still in it? But what is it going to cost to be in it? And what is it going to cost you to move forward? It's just the same pain on a different level. Try to choose you this time. And that's the difficult thing. Choosing yourself when you're in a pattern of toxicity. When you have been self-sabotaging, when you have been the kind of person that's ultra compromising, people pleasing, and codependent, it can be difficult, very, very difficult to keep on pressing, to keep on moving, to keep on stretching past your limitations of self-love and boundaries. Because at the end of the day, it is about you, beautiful soul. It's about you continuing on the path of enlightenment to evolve. And so in order to fight the urge, sometimes you have to sit and think about that cost analysis. Man, is me going back to the same old me, is that going to be beneficial? Now, this current state I'm in, it may be painful, but will going back be beneficial, right? What are the benefits to going back or moving forward? You have to stop. That's the first thing you want to do. When you're in pain, stop and think. I'm going through this for me. I'm going through this to be better. I'm going through this process of healing to come out on the other side a better person for myself. I want to grow. I want to grow my character. I want to grow my self-awareness. I want to be more enlightened. I want to have self-correction. So those were some of the things I thought about when I thought about transitioning into this healing space. I had to do, like, what is it going to cost me? Oh man, it cost me everything. And I remember being in prayer, and I remember being in meditation, and, you know, the Spirit just saying to me, transition is going to cost you something, daughter. You know, that's what my Heavenly Father spoke to me. So when transition is going to cost me something, sometimes you don't know what the cost is going to be. And it can seem costly on this side, but rest assured, there will come a day where the day breaks, right? It's always darkest before the dawn. I'm going to encourage you today to stay in the fight, not to give up on this process of healing, to not give up on yourself. And so when we begin to do that, when we begin to take stock, when we begin to sit back, when we begin to breathe, when we begin to listen to our inner strength, we understand that it is okay to miss somebody, beloved. It is okay to miss the people that we once had in our life. It is okay to, think about those times that we were together. All that is wonderful. All of that is okay. But we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic. You know, those situations have us in the place that we are now. Maybe we didn't take care of ourselves like we should have. Maybe we didn't take the steps necessary, right, to create those boundaries for ourselves. We didn't do those things. And so in order to do those things, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take us getting outside of our norms and creating newness for ourselves. And I think that's what this thing is about. When you're healing, you are deconstructing the old and reconstructing something new. And parts of you are going to be left behind, and that is okay. That is fine. People who used to be in your life are going to be left behind. Things that were in your life are going to be left behind. But what you're going to come out with is a better version of yourself. And I think the better version of yourself is priceless, right? It is priceless. Your peace is priceless. Your healing is priceless. And I remember saying I'm committed and dedicated to my healing, not realizing everything that I was going to have to lose. And I have to every day fight the urge. Fight the urge to go back. Fight the urge to continue to be in the same space, right, that I'm in. So I want to just remind you of this, how I started out this podcast today. You can love someone and still choose to say goodbye to them. You can miss a person every day and still be glad they are no longer in your life. That is so true. That is such a fact. And so I want you to continue to breathe, beautiful soul. I want you to continue to be on this journey. Don't turn back. Don't give up. Keep it going. You are in the right place at the right time in your healing journey. So that's all I have for today. I just want you to remember to pause. This is one of the tools we want to do is pause in our pain. Pause inside of your pain. Pause and process it, right? Process what you're feeling. Why am I feeling this right now? Am I lonely? Am I hungry? Am I upset? All those things they tell you to halt, before you make major decisions. You always want to do that. You always want to halt and reflect on where you are at in the moment, because this moment is just a moment, right? And so once you get through this moment, you'll be able to push through the next moment and the next moment. This process that you're in, right? It's just a moment. It's not permanent. You're in this for a reason. You chose your healing for a reason. Continue to choose you in this process. Continue to choose you and breathe. So always stop. Before I get off here, I'm just going to keep reiterating, stop and think before you turn back to being your old self. Don't do it. Before you turn back to being your old self, push through the pain, push through those those unhealthy patterns and habits that you have, whether it's always saying yes, whether it's, we have people in our lives that we're just weak for. It's our mothers, it's our sisters, it's our romantic partners. And it's hard to say no to those people in our life because we think we're supposed to sacrifice ourselves for them. That's false. That is not true. The most healthy you can be is loving you first, taking care of you first, right? And so fight the urge to go back to being your default self, that default setting. And I want you to push forward towards your healing journey. And so always remember to love yourself first. Always remember that this is just a moment that is not permanent. And I want you to breathe. Breathe. Take a moment and stop. And whatever you do, do not give up on you. Okay, that's all I have for you today, beautiful soul. Remember, faith, focus, finish. This is Lady Q, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side of this healing journey.